You know what, lads? I'm running out of 7-day free trials on VPNs. I've done ExpressVPN, I've done Surfshark. Sleep Token would want to get the act together and stop uploading videos at 5 o'clock in the morning. It is currently 25 past 11, the night before Sleep Token release at 5 a.m. I'm on another VPN, and that's just the way it's going to be. I'm not waking up to react at 5 a.m. I'm going to do it now. I'm currently in Australia on a beach, sipping on a little beer. And I'm so excited. So excited that I've actually decided to let the hair down. The hair is actually up, but I mean, just relax a little bit, you know? It's a late one again. I want to really get into the mood for this one because the last track, although I don't really enjoy having to set all this up at like 11 p.m, midnight, it's kind of nice doing it at night. I'm used to recording in the middle of the day, but I feel a little bit more connected to the music. It might be the alcohol talking a little bit at this point, but I'm so ready for the new Sleep Token song. It's called Damocles. I know I said it on the Metal Roundup podcast. I said Damocles. It was a joke, guys. I knew it was Damocles all this time. I've had a voice crack as well. Excellent. I'm on the VPN again. Probably just going to be another flamingo walking around outside a castle or some shit. So the actual official music video doesn't mean much to me. I'll watch it again in my own time tomorrow at some point. But I've got the audio and I can't wait to listen to it. This could be the last single for the album. The album drops in 2 weeks, 14 days. We'll probably get a single on the day, but at that point I'll just be checking out the full album anyway. So this could actually be my last time ever doing a Sleep Token single reaction, because who knows, the band could just pack it in after all this. I know RCA signed them and shit like that. Probably wouldn't make a lot of sense for RCA, for Sleep Token to just pack it in, but I'm just so ready. Let's stop yapping. I'm excited. Damocles, let's go. Fun fact, 77% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. That number is absurdly high. YouTube's recommended is so good nowadays that you don't really need to click the subscribe button, but it does really help channels out a lot. So if you are watching and you do enjoy my content regularly, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. Now let's get into the video. My heart is pounding again. 3, 2, 1. Cheers, guys. This one's for us. Let's go.
Oh, I've been waking up under blades, blue blossom days of only Damocles.
Waking up on the blades, Damocles.
Back. No alabaster carvings or faces on a farthing would prevent my head from fading to black. And
right.
It feels like falling into the sea from outer space in seconds to me. And I play discordant days on repeat until they look like harmony. When the river runs dry and the curtain is cold, how will I know if I can't see the bottom? Come up for air and choke on it all. No one else knows that I've got a problem. What if I can't get up and stand tall? What if the diamond days are all gone? And who will I be when the empire falls? Wake up alone and I'll be forgotten.
They're gonna get me again. They're gonna get me again.
Well, I know I should be touring. I know these chords are boring, but I can't always be killing the game. No golden grand pianos or voices from the shadows will do anything but feel the same. And it feels like falling into the deep from somewhere way up over the peak. can't see the bottom? Come up for air and choke on it all. No one else knows that I've got a problem. What if I can't get up and stand tall? What if the diamond days are all gone? And who will I be when the empire falls? Wake up alone and I'll be forgotten.
Whew. Okay. Damocles.
Will nobody tell me I get tired of myself when it all looks like heaven, but it feels like hell. When the river runs dry and the curtain is cold, how will I know if I can't see the bottom? Come up for air and choke on it all.
This is like a repeat of the Carmel video.
I've got a problem. What if I can't get up and stand tall? What if the diamond days are all gone? And who will I be when the empire falls? Wake up alone and I'll be forgotten.
Can we just touch on that for a moment? What if I can't stand up tall? What if the diamond days are all gone? And who will I be when the empire falls? Wake up alone and I'll be forgotten. Just the pure, almost like irony in these lyrics being so, like, almost self-deprecating. Like Vessel doesn't, he's talking about these, what if the diamond days are all gone? And it just goes to show how the human mind can play tricks on you, because Sleep Token quite literally could not be bigger right now. 8.1 million monthly listeners on Spotify, 1.1 and counting million followers on Instagram. When I made the Emergence reaction like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, the first single, I literally said in the video that they've gone from 400,000 to 4 million monthly listeners. They have since increased their monthly listeners in 2 months by another 4 million. And even more. They're at 8.1. And that's right now. This single's going to drive them up again. We're closing in on 10 million by the time this album comes out. Easily. In 14 days. It's insane. It's so beautiful to be a part of this whole experience and watch it unfold. And I know there is the people that are Sleep Token haters, and they're not going to please everyone, and that's kind of what Vessel is talking about in this song. And I don't frankly think that this is near their best song musically, and I think, funnily enough, Vessel almost kind of plays into that in the lyrics as well, where he's like, you know, what does he say? He says it up here. He says, well, I know I should be touring. I know these chords are boring, but I can't always be killing the game. So he's like literally acknowledging all of this in this song, that like not every song by them can be an absolute masterpiece. Now, they've done a pretty good job thus far of doing nearly that in the majority of the songs they've released over the past couple of years. Like, from a different angle, you could consider certain song masterpieces for sure. I know it's not for everyone again, but... And ironically, again, even though he's saying that in this song, and this song does feel a little bit more stripped back and emotional, and like a little bit more simplistic, there's not like a huge, big, like, ridiculous breakdown, or there's not as much like maybe genre blending as like the caramel and emergence, and there's not as much maybe obvious melody. I'm sure this will grow over time, like all Sleep Token songs seem to have done for me. It does really feel like, you know, even though the irony of that, like even though he's almost like acknowledging that this isn't like their best song, it still hits a nerve and it's still emotional. And that's what this band are so good at doing, is that like even when they're like acknowledging that they can't always be at their best, they're still somehow pulling it off because they're being very vulnerable and like almost unaware of their own successes right now, which is again another whole topic we could get into of like the psyche behind the human brain. And you know, even though they're on the top of the world, Vessel's like seemingly feeling pretty down, which is horrible to see, you know. I guess a point I have written down here is I don't think this is their most amazing song, especially on like a reaction standpoint. Now it nearly got me tearing up, so it's an amazing song, but I guess by Sleep Token standards, in terms of like the emotional factors of it and also the like banger replayability of it, it's definitely a listenable song for sure, and a re-listenable song, and I'll definitely be going back to it a lot. And I think on the album it'll make a lot more sense to me. This and what Sleep Token have been doing over the last while, and I've been trying to like wrap my head around the like phenomenon, the chaos that is Sleep Token. There's, put it this way, there's very few bands, there's no bands right now that will get people waking up, a very, very big community of people waking up at 5 a.m. to listen to their songs. It's something that's kind of like transcending music at the moment. And I think as I've gotten older, I've kind of learned to just like cherish these small moments. I'm so excited for the new album. I'm so excited every time a single drops. I'm sitting here having a beer, my second beer of the night, by myself on a Thursday night at 9 minutes to midnight. And I'm just so content, you know? And there's no bands right now for me that do that. So some people will look at it as like, oh, you're glazing, you're getting emotional over a basic song. I mean, if that's the way you look at it, that's completely fine. I in a way, I kind of feel for those people a little bit, because the emotions that I have towards this band is like, it gets me emotional even just talking about it, because it feels like such a big deal. It feels like we're living in a moment that will be a very big deal in years to come. And it's just one of those things I want to cherish, because like I said at the start of the video, this probably will be the last single until the album actually drops, and then I'm sure we'll get like a standalone single with the album release. So this is kind of like the last moment, and based on some of these lyrics, man, this could be the last album cycle. I know they've signed to RCA, but I'm sure RCA will have probably made their money back off of this album alone on Sleep Token. Who knows? Okay, lads, it's now, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, 5 past midnight, and the chances of me sleeping tonight are slim to none, so we might as well be a little bit productive with our time, and let's do a bit of a lyrical breakdown. Now, I know you're probably sniggering at the fact that I've just said a lyrical breakdown, considering I am the guy who thought that Damocles was pronounced Damocles, but we're going to do our best. So let's start with this. Do you know what? We're going to listen to the song again. Why not? Let's make it very engaging, interactive. I want to listen to the song again and actually go through the lyrics. I've heard obviously some of them, you know, some of them are pretty obvious, but there's a bit of like, you know, poetry and metaphorical writing, as there always is with Sleep Token music and Vessel's brilliant wordplay. So let's listen to it again and have the lyrics up on the screen.
Waking up under blades, blue blossom days. If only Damocles would hit me back.
Okay, I'm going to be that guy, but we've already done the full reaction, and I've had my emotional take on the song. Now I want to hear or I guess we're going to deep dive. So I'm going to pause, and this video is going to be an hour and a half long, so apologies. If you think this video is going to be long, wait until you see the Even in Arcadia full album reaction. That thing is going to be 6 weeks long. To be honest, I think that video will be so long that you'll have enough content to keep you going until the next Sleep Token album. So anyway, while I've been waking up under blades, blue blossom days, if only Damocles would hit me back. So from my digging, after being absolutely grilled, sorry, I just dropped my light thing. I was grilled on the Metal Roundup podcast for basically pronouncing Damocles Damocles, because I'm brain dead. And yeah, I had to do my research, you know, after being humbled by the internet. I had to go ahead and check out the story of Damocles and do my research. So long story short, I think the best way of describing it is look at this sword that the imagery for the actual like song artwork is portraying. Basically, Damocles is like an old Greek tale. Look, I'll go as far as confirming the pronunciation of the word, but I'm not going to go as far as making sure that all of my things that I say in the next few minutes are 100% factual, okay? I'm going off of memory here right now. but I think it's like a Greek mythology story or some shit, where Damocles was, I believe, I fucked this already, to be honest. Why am I doing this? I don't know, but look, he's here for the ride. Let's go. Basically, a king has a great life. Yeah, oh, great life. I'm a king. Woo, everything's fantastic. Oh, but what you don't see is that this king that everyone admires has this sword hanging over his head, and at any moment, that sword can drop and impale the king through his cranium, okay? So, of course, that is not something that is very desirable. So no one wants that situation, but a lot of people don't see that until they get a deeper look into the king's life. So, metaphorically speaking, this is what Vessel is trying to portray. He's basically saying that he is the king, you know, subtle flex from Vessel. Oh, everyone's crying about Vessel, even me. Oh, poor guy. But he's basically calling himself the GOAT, all right? That's what he's calling himself. I think Damocles is actually not the king. He's like the guy who wants to be the king, but then he doesn't see the, I don't fucking know. I'm an idiot, okay? But basically the idea behind this is that the sword is dangling over the king's head. It looks great to be a king, you know? All the women, oh, all the women, all the fame. But no, at any moment, that sword's coming through your head. So it's this kind of like paradox, okay? So I've been waking up under blades, blue blossoms. So that's very literally Damocles. Fuck, I've said Damocles. He's been waking up under blades because the blade is dangling over his head, and at any moment, it could drop. Now, the blue blossom days is something that I don't know. So I don't think it says anything here. I'll read out anything that might be relevant. Relevant? What? This was meant to represent the constant danger and threats that kings deal with, blah, 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 whatever. So I don't know if that's relevant. No alabaster carvings or faces on a farthing. That is... The child brain in me wants to say farting. But it's farthing, because there's a H there. Would prevent my head from fading to black. So I've done a bit of pre-work analysis, because this is my job. No alabaster carvings or faces on a farthing would prevent my head from fading to black. So again, alabaster carvings is basically like, imagine the like statues in Rome and shit. You know, these like statues that are of all of the Greek gods and shit. Basically, Vessel is saying that no amount of, you know, public fame and statues of my name and my face would... I'd love to see a statue of Vessel just somewhere in the middle of Rome or some shit, but no statues or carvings of my face on a farthing, again, don't quote me on exactly what these things are, but would prevent my head from fading to black. So he's basically saying here that it doesn't matter how many, you know, accolades I have, yada yada yada, it wouldn't stop my head from going off the wall, going splats, as some people might say in Dublin. Pre-chorus. And it feels like falling into the sea from outer space in seconds to me. And I play discordant days on repeat until they look like harmony. Now, I know you're probably thinking, Drew, you're such a professional. Oh my God, you're breaking down these lyrics. I haven't a notion what I'm doing right now. So this is all on the fly. Let's just click this. Thank God someone's done this already. In Damocles, Vessel is lamenting his doubts about his place in the world and where he will end up after Sleep Token ends. This line seems to suggest that when he is on stage and touring, it seems to offer him a reprieve from his personal struggles, outer space. But when he gets home and returns to his normal life, he immediately begins to struggle again, falling into the sea. Vessel often uses the ocean or bodies of water and sinking into them as a metaphor for his battle with mental health, and this line sees the continuation of that. So we're talking about the likes of Atlantic, and a lot of the kind of aqua themes that we've seen throughout this place will become here too. So that all adds up. Now let's click on this one and let's pretend that I did all this. I've been stung here because there's no breakdown. Someone is currently annotating this line. Can I message them and tell them to hurry up? Because this is not ideal for me making a YouTube video right now. But let's see if I can decipher it while Verez is currently annotating this line. And I play Discordant Days and repeat until they look like harmony. Now, first I was like, is Discordant Days a song? That might be a bit of a stretch for Vessel's lyrical capability to just be like, and I play this song on repeat. No. Discordant Days. Discordant to me is like a Meshuggah song, dancers to a discordant system. Now, I'm going to be very, very intelligent here. And discordant meaning, let's see. We're going to do this all live, folks. Disagreeing or incongruous. So basically, like, essentially, if you want to be a prog nerd about it, like syncopated rhythms. And I play syncopated rhythms for days on repeat. I play Bleed by Meshuggah for days on repeat, is what Vessel is trying to say here. Until they look like harmony. So, oh, I get it now. So he's basically saying he's playing Bleed for so long that it actually starts to sound like a normal song that like most humans can comprehend, which actually isn't the case. He's just going insane, okay? That's what that means. I'm fucking brilliant at this. I should be doing this this should be my job. Breaking down lyrics. Chorus. When the river runs dry in the I was supposed to be playing the song, wasn't I? Fuck, I forgot about that. Sorry, guys.
No alabaster carvings or faces on a farthing would prevent my head from fading.
Someone's got to edit that and make it like farting and just have loads of farts after this.
Feels like falling.
I'm a child. I'm 28. Like, come on.
From outer space in seconds to me.
I'm gonna make me a little bigger because I'm extremely vain. There we go.
Until they look like harmony. When the river runs dry and the curtain
Okay, very obvious what he's talking about here. Yeah. Again, the water reference. Yeah, I love this. Oh, sorry. Okay. Again, Vessel appears to be struggling with some type of imposter syndrome. He feels that when his empire falls, sleep token disbanding, he will wake up alone and be forgotten by the world as if nothing had ever happened. Now again, take all of this with a pinch of salt, folks. I'm not saying that this is necessarily the absolute end-all be-all. Let's call out the contributor. This is created by Telomeres. So shout out to them. I just realized you cannot see that anymore because of my vanity. So let's move this over here again. I'm sorry. Look, we're going to go through phases of me being vain where I'll make it bigger, and then phases of me being humble and, you know, moving it away so you can see. But yeah, when the river runs dry and the curtain is called, how will I know when I can't see the bottom? Or if I can't see the bottom? I like that line. When the river runs dry and the curtain is called, how will I know if I can't see the bottom? I feel like that's a good line, but I'm just too dumb to figure it out. How will I know if I can't see the bottom? So how will he actually know when the river runs dry and the curtain is called if he actually can't see the bottom? Because he's so deeply involved in the project that he might struggle, and not just Vessel, but I guess celebrities in general, might not actually see when they've fallen off or when things have just kind of taken a sour turn, you know? I feel like some people just get so blinded by them. Conor McGregor comes to mind, where it's like he doesn't even realize that his career peaked like fucking 10 years ago at this point, and he just still thinks he's some, like, he is still a megastar, don't get me wrong, but he's a fucking arsehole. And it's just like his inability to actually see that happening is the sad part, you know? And the good thing about Vessel is that he seems very aware of this, almost too aware, because it's obviously tearing him apart, where he's like, how will I know when this is over, you know? Come up for air and choke on it all. Again, this kind of like ties back into the whole sea thing and the drowning and the aqua and the regia and the all that stuff, you know. No one else knows that I've got a problem. Now this is an interesting line. This is something that me in full screen is going to dissect, okay? No one else knows that I've got a problem. I mean, this could be, you know, very literally just the problems that he's talking about, like as in, you know, he doesn't know when he can see the bottom. Or it could be a lot deeper, you know, who knows? Is he dealing with like alcohol addiction? Is he dealing with substance abuse? Genuine questions, you know what I mean? I mean, no one really knows this stuff. I'm sure his close friends and circle know. But like the general public will not know about this for the most part because they keep very private. I know some freaks are going out of their way to figure out all this shit, but like, you know, this is very tongue-in-cheek. No one else knows that I've got a problem. What if I can't get up and stand tall? You know, again, that's pretty self-explanatory. What if I'm, you know, what if I become weak? What if the diamond days are all gone? I guess that's a metaphorical line for actually just, you know, the riches and stuff like that. And who will I be when the empire falls? Wake up alone and I'll be forgotten. So again, you know, we've already done the dissection of this. You can see the genius thing here. It says, again, Vessel appears to be struggling with some type of imposter syndrome, which is a relatable thing, of course, to everyone, I suppose, in any line of work or anything along those lines. Well, I know. I mean, for me right now, Jesus Christ, I'm reading lyrics off a screen and I'm drunk at fucking midnight. That's, if you want to know about imposter syndrome, and like this will probably be seen by about 50,000 people. My last 2 sleep token videos have been seen by a combined 100 and fucking like 20,000 people on YouTube alone. If you want to talk about imposter syndrome, I feel like there's a percentage of me that understands what Vessel's going through. Anyway, well, I know I should be touring. That this line here, these lines are, I think if we're going to talk about the most important lines in the song, this is, again, we talked about the unmasking of Vessel in Caramel. This feels like an extension of that unmasking, which I did not expect to see in a song directly after this. I felt like we might have gotten some like more unmasking in the album itself, but the single directly after Caramel to be like more unmasking, because again, to anyone who's maybe not like been around the Sleep Token lore for too long, this is insane. Like Sleep Token have always been this kind of like, you know, very elusive band that doesn't really give away much, and it's all about the lore, but all of a sudden it's just like, you know, I am struggling big time here, you know, which is really, really sad, but also, you know, from a perspective of a fan and I guess a spectator to some degree, it's very interesting, you know, and you know, like it's still sad, but it's still quite interesting to see him like just completely become, he's always been a human being, but like really play into the fact that he is a human being. So, well, I know I should be touring. I know these chords are boring, but I can't always be killing the game. Dead right. You know, sometimes my YouTube videos absolutely fucking flop. And it sucks. You know what I mean? But Vessel is essentially, Vessel's kind of like the Mr. Beast of the music, or I guess metal adjacent to genres right now, where he's just pumping out 100 million view videos back to back, and he's probably like, when the fuck am I going to drop like a 1 million view video? You know what I mean? I know 1 million views is still going to be insane for a lot of people, but that's actually a pretty good comparison, to be honest. Jeez, I'm on fire tonight. I need to start drinking more. Jesus Christ. Sorry, don't drink, kids. Have a drink. If you're 18 or over, or whatever the fucking age it is, I don't know. In the last few years, Sleep Token have been hailed as being big innovators for the metal genre. While this praise can feel fulfilling for the band, it also puts a lot of pressure on them. People expect every new release to be bigger and better than the last, and these lines are basically Vessel acknowledging that he knows that kind of innovation isn't possible every single time. Yeah, it's like how I know that not every single one of my uploads can be a reaction to Sleep Token, because my next video after this will probably get 1/50th of the views, so I kind of understand where Vessel is coming from. I feel like it might be a little bit different for him, of course, because he's doing it on like a fucking global stage, but you know, the feelings can still be somewhat the same. No golden grand pianos or voices from the shadows. I love how I'm just making this all about me. I'm not intending it to be that way, I'm sorry. No golden grand pianos or voices from the shadows will do anything but feel the same. No golden grand pianos or voices from the shadows will do anything but feel the same. Well, I know I should be touring, but I can't always be killing the game. No golden grand... Okay, so this is obviously like nothing, like all these riches and shit, I guess. Is this kind of saying that like the golden grand pianos is like the absolute pinnacle of whatever it is? Voices from the shadows. This part's kind of confusing me. Is voices from the shadows supposed to be like the opposite of golden grand pianos? So like basically it doesn't matter what it is, it's all the same to me. Like it doesn't actually matter anymore. I've lost the appeal that I once had of like maybe riches and shit like that. I'm kind of fucking that one up. A genius, you need to get your shit together and give me a reason as to why this is in the song. It's not there right now. You're showing me up, but we'll move on. I've been doing this for 16 minutes. This video is going to be an hour long. And it feels like falling into the deep. Pre-chorus. Vessel captures the feeling of being stuck in a cycle of emotional unraveling those days while holding on to the fading memory of something pure and high above, like the peaks you fell from. It's graceful despair dressed in melody. It's so ironic to see that like the peaks that he fell from are actually the opposite of what most people would see the peaks as, because most people would see the peaks of his career being right now, but it's almost as if there's this irony in the sense that Vessel is falling from the earlier days of his career when he was maybe on the rise. And there's something to be said about like it's so true, because the journey is just so much more important than the actual end destination, the goal, for anything in life. Because anytime you like achieve that goal that you've been working towards, you're kind of like, Not all the time, of course. There's certain goals that are like, yes, this is just great. But eventually you do kind of move on from the goal, you know, and you want to do the next thing. But it's the actual, when you look back on something, if you like set yourself a goal for, like for me, hitting 100,000 subscribers on YouTube was like the biggest deal ever for me. And it was like the most fun thing to pursue ever. And once I hit it, it was kind of just like, why did I care so much about that? I wish I kind of enjoyed the journey a little bit more, because I was just so hell-bent on the 100K. And then I hit it and I was like, and it was only in hindsight that I was like, the fun moments and the actual pride that comes from the 100K milestone is all of the little like landmarks along the way, you know? I am yapping so hard right now. Jesus, if there's anyone still here, like you owe me a subscription at this point. If you're actually still listening to me chat, you owe me a subscription big time. Like, it's just not even up for debate at this point. Like, if you've listened to me for like 30 minutes on an album reaction, or not even an album reaction, this is a single reaction, I have to upload this. Do you know what? I should probably stop talking. I really should. I've kind of made my points. I think they've been pretty clear. I do really appreciate you guys watching. If you could leave a like in this video, it would be amazing. If you've watched this far, it's guaranteed you should be liking the video at this point. You've watched this far. There's something in here you've enjoyed, or you've just been hate watching me so hard. It's now midnight and I need to go to sleep. So I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. We're going to be checking out the full Even in Arcadia album, which drops now officially in 13 days, 23 hours. That's going to fly in as well. So keep an eye out for that on the channel. And thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm signing out. Look after yourselves. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.